Hi guys, JSFPL here, welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'll be talking you guys through the Game Week 2 buy, hold, sell and avoid. So which players you should consider buying, which players you should consider keeping on and holding on to them, which players you should consider selling, and which players you should consider avoiding, as they could be potential traps or not good options with bad underlying data. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So the first player I'll be talking about is Gabriel Martinelli. Now, he's just got a price rise to 6.1, so it could be very inconvenient of some people who's got no money in the bank and want to upgrade players who's maybe, let's say, a Bruno Guimaraes at 6 mil, and it could be very frustrating to find that 0.1 elsewhere. So Gabriel Martinelli, for me, he's a buy. If you watch the Arsenal game against Crystal Palace, Arsenal controlled most of the ball in the first half, but then they did drop off in the second half. But if you look at his data, expected goals per 90, 0.88, expected assists per 90, 0.06, and those stats look incredible. He managed to pick up 8 points in game week 1, scoring 1 goal, but if you watch the game, you could have saw that he could have got another goal early on in the game. He had a brilliant chance and he did miss the chance. So if he scored those chances, on another day, another game week, he could have scored, and it would have been double digits. So I'm just saying he's a brilliant option to buy, and it might look fairly obvious, but still 24% ownership. I think he should be really high owned, maybe around the 30% mark. But for 6 mil, a guaranteed starter in the Arsenal team, and for 2 mil less than Saka, and he could be potentially on pens, I just see he's a great option. Now, some people are 70% own Gabriel Jesus. If you could pay 8 million for Gabriel Jesus, why not pay 6 mil for Gabriel Martinelli? Next, I do have Erling Haaland. Now, some of those Kane owners would argue with me that saying Kane would be the better pick, but in Game Week 2, Man City do play Bournemouth at home, and you could be a Kane owner and you could argue against it, but of course, you had Kane in your team and you could be a bit biased to Kane, and you just have to admit, Game Week 2, Erling Haaland has the better fixtures. Now, I expected Kane to perform better than Haaland Game Week 1. Of course, that didn't happen, and Haaland did go and score a brace against West Ham. On paper, we saw that game against West Ham as a tough game, as City haven't won at the London Stadium in a few couple of matches in the past. So the history wasn't there for City, and Spurs had Southampton at home, which they did score 4 goals, but Kane wasn't involved in any of those goals, which is a bit disappointing for some managers. Now, Erling Haaland, he managed to pick up 2 goals, 1 penalty. He did win the penalty by himself as well when Riyad Mahrez wasn't on the pitch. So we still don't know who's the main penalty taker, but it looks like Erling Haaland would be the main man if he's on the pitch, as Mahrez didn't start the game. So we could see Haaland being on pens, and he did score the other goal where Kevin De Bruyne slipped a through pass for Erling Haaland, and he did finish it very calm, very simple, and overall I think his performance was really good. And for FPL option 11.6, in my opinion, FPL massively underpriced him. He should have been 12.5, even 12 mil. So for 11.6, I think Erling Haaland is a great option, and if you're thinking to swapping from Kane to Haaland, I'm here to tell you that it's a great choice, not because you're only bringing in a player who you can captain in Game Week 2, and if not the best captaincy option, as Salah does play Crystal Palace at home. And now, during the Arsenal match, we did see Crystal Palace was a hard team to play in the second half. They took control of the game, and they were a hard team to break down as well. So it's not the best fixture for Salah, and you could captain Erling Haaland. He's already on 50% ownership. I think it will rise massively come Game Week 2 deadline. So I'm just trying to say, his stats look great. He's just got a brace Game Week 1. You guys should be buying him. Next, the player I think you guys should be holding is Gabriel Jesus. Now, already a lot of managers have transferred him out, but I'm just gonna say this: his ownership is still very high, and a lot of people will agree with me that you guys should be keeping Gabriel Jesus. Now, for 8 mil, again, an Arsenal forward who could potentially be on pens, I think it's a no-brainer to keep him in, as it's very flexible. If he doesn't perform well at that price point, you could downgrade or upgrade him to a player like Darwin Núñez, Patrick Bamford, players like these. So not only that he's a great option, but his flexibility for your team is very good. Now, As we look at his data, isn't the best, and he wasn't that much involved in that first game. Now he did have a chance, he did take some shots, but he wasn't massively involved as what we expected during the preseason. But you have to just remember that Gabriel Jesus, he is still a top quality player, and you can't just judge a player by one game. Now those were, I think that was the toughest game in the first 8 game week for Arsenal. Now they play Leicester at home. It's not the easiest fixture, but still, Bournemouth away, Fulham at home, Aston Villa at home. There is a lot of potential for Jesus to get high scoring points. Now, Jesus, a lot of managers have already transferred him out. 23,784 managers have already transferred him out, and I think you guys should be holding on to him, because if he gets a goal, he could massively punish you, and his price would have just massively increased as his ownership. So I think it's still a great option, Gabriel Jesus. You should be holding on to him, and to go without him, again, it's a massive risk looking at his price and ownership. Next, we do have Andrew Robertson. Now, I'm going to say that he's a hold, because during game week 1, it was a surprising result for for Liverpool. So, Liverpool did lose their opening game, did draw their opening game against Fulham 2-2. And it wasn't expected, we all expected Liverpool to win easily, but that wasn't the case, and Liverpool did go on and draw. And some might say Liverpool deserved to lose that game, as Fulham had the better chances and should have scored more goals. So looking at stats, there's nothing much to talk about here. 0-0, 0-0. So everything's at 0, because again, he wasn't massively involved in the game, but the Premier League season isn't played in one game, and there is still 37 games to go. So that's 1 out of 38. Again, you can't judge a player by one game week. You have to have the patience to hold on to the player, because you think he'll score the most points. These things will happen. Surprising results will happen. It is football. Football is not played on paper, and anything can happen in football. So we know that. I think many of you know that, and we just have to accept these shocking and surprising results. Now, again, Liverpool is a top team, a very top team, and those, we are expecting them to perform very well. But these results happen, and the second game is against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace failed to score against Arsenal with their expected goals of 1.23 during that game. So it was massively really high, but they still failed to score. So Liverpool could go on and keep the clean sheet, but you have to remember, Liverpool are a top tier side. Them and City, in my opinion, the best two defense in the league. These things happen, and you have to just be patient, because Robertson has the potential to get those double-digit hauls, and we've seen it before last season. So for me, you have to hold and keep him, because again, I feel like it's not that flexible to go for another Liverpool player. As if you want to go for Darwin Núñez, you have to make 2 transfers, because you have to take out Robertson and bring him in if you don't already have 3 Liverpool. So for me, hold on to him and be patient with your FPL players. Next, we do have Harry Kane. Now, for me, he is a simple sell. There is an argument to make saying to keep him, but of course, Harry Kane does play Chelsea in game week 2. Chelsea away, but after that, the fixtures look quite good. Spurs play Wolves at home, Nottingham Forest away, West Ham away, Fulham at home, and then Man City, Leicester, Arsenal. So there is a short period of time during game week 3 and 6. You could say that you could favor Harry Kane's fixtures over Haaland's, but game week 2 they play Chelsea, and that is the main talking point. I think that Chelsea fixture just favors me for Haaland over Kane. I prefer Haaland to Kane just because of that fixture, and you could just simply captain Erling Haaland during their fixtures, as also, in my opinion, he's the best captaincy shout. Now, Kane, looking at his data, 0.1 for expected goals per 90, 0.2 for expected assists per 90, 2 points in game week 1. Now, Spurs did put 4 goals past Southampton, but Harry Kane didn't get anything, and you truly expect Harry Kane and Heung-min Son to be picking double-digit hauls when Spurs score 4 goals. But that wasn't the case, and Harry Kane has already dropped in price, so he is going down in price. And if you really want a captaincy shout, I think you should be bringing in Erling Haaland. But there is a small case to consider keeping Harry Kane. But for me, I would prefer Erling Haaland to Kane because of that GW2 fixture. And lastly, we do have our two avoids. We do have Ryan Sessegnon and Emerson Royal. Now, you could say this is a fairly obvious avoid, as no one's going to go for them. But a lot of managers have transferred both of these players in. 48,906 managers have bought in Emerson Royal, and 59,420 managers have brought in Ryan Sessegnon. That is a lot of managers. Now, of course, you could say those people look at Game Week 1 points, but I'm just here to put it out there. Unless an injury or suspension comes, I don't think it's a risk. I think it's a massive risk going for these players, as they do have a lot of competition. Emerson, you could say he has more competition, and Sessegnon has less. But again, Sessegnon has the tougher competition, as he does have Perisic, while Emerson have more competition with Spence coming in, and of course Matt Doherty. So for me, they two are an avoid. But if, let's say, Perisic gets injured or Spence and Doherty gets injured, we could look to go for these players, and they would be great value for their price point. But for me, it's a massive risk to take to go for an Arsenal fullback. Now, their stats does look really good. Ryan Sessegnon's stats, 0.63 expected goals. Now, that is fairly high. But again, it's one game, it's a low sample size, and it just shows how valuable these Spurs fullbacks are. And if we can get one nailed fullback, maybe a suspension comes or fitness levels and injury issues, and if we get one nailed center fullback for Spurs, that just shows that they could be crucial. But for now, these two are not avoids, and they did score quite highly in Game Week 1, but for me, it's a avoid for them. So guys, that does wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, it's a fairly short video, but my team selection will be coming up on Thursday, maybe Friday, so stay tuned to that. And without that, keep drafting, keep making transfers, keep doing our research. And it's been me, Just FPL, and I'll see you guys in the next one.